Hi there. Now before I begin, I'm just going to say that I did a video a while back that was titled Silver is Money, where I talked about why silver is money, what gives it value, and also investing in silver. Now, if you're someone that you want to put, you want to put your money somewhere, but let's say you want something even less expensive compared to silver and gold. You want to put your money into something that has value, but that doesn't cost as much as silver and gold would. Now, what I would recommend, now I don't know if this is the actual term, but we're going to call this junk copper coins and junk nickel coins. Now right here I have a pile of rolls of pennies. I mean, we've all seen these before. These are just rolls of pennies. Now, I have a whole bunch of rolls of Canadian pennies. I also have American pennies as well. Now, for those of you that don't know, I'm sure a lot of people are aware, but maybe there are people that are not. Pennies that we currently have today are simply only copper plated, both in the United States and in Canada. They're just copper plated. Now, if you want actual copper pennies, I believe in the United States, pre-1982 pennies are 95% copper, and in Canada, up until 1996 was the last year that we had 98% pennies that were issued in circulation. Now, I know this is overlooked. Someone's going to look at this video and say, the guy's talking about pennies. I mean, this is a waste of time. But this is actually an alternative to silver and gold. If you don't want to put your money into silver and gold, and you want something less expensive, I would recommend putting it into actual copper pennies, not the crap we have now, but like I said, pre-1982 American pennies and pre-1997 Canadian pennies. Now, the plus side with pennies here compared to, for example, junk silver, is in the case of junk silver, you can't buy it at face value. You know, you're going to pay at least 10 times face value or more. The plus side here with junk copper coins is you can still get these for face value. You know, you could walk into a bank, whether you're in the United States or Canada, walk into a bank, you know, just get like 50 bucks worth of pennies, you know, and take out all the good ones and, you know, bring the copper plated ones back. That's what I've been doing for a while. Also, the last few years, you know, I've been saving up. If I get happen to get the actual copper pennies in my change, I save them up. Now again, you know, this is a great way to put your money into something of value. People forget that copper is actually a commodity like silver and gold as well. You know, people always mention that silver and gold were used since the beginning of time. Even the ancient Romans used it, but they forget that copper was used since the beginning of time as well. The ancient Romans used copper as well. Copper is also money. Okay, so again, right here, I have a whole bunch of pennies like I mentioned. Now, right now, I believe the price of a pound of copper is just under $2 US. Now, last year, however, when copper peaked at $4 a pound, most people probably were not aware. If you had a pre-1982 American penny or a pre-1982 Canadian penny, they were worth about 2.5 cents melt value. They were worth 2.5 times their face value. And then I believe in 1982 American pennies, they switched over to, they were only copper plated. But in Canada, we continued to make copper pennies. They made them slightly smaller in 1982, but from 1982 up until 1996, we still had 98% copper pennies. So again, that was 2.5 times their face value, pre-1982 American and Canadian, and then with Canadian pennies from 1982 until 1996, they were worth 2 cents each. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, that does make a significant difference if you save up enough pennies. And that also is a way to hedge against inflation. I mean, I know, you know, there might be some people looking at this and laughing at the thought of saving up your pennies, but pennies do have value. You know, they do have value. As the fiat value of the penny goes down due to inflation, the metal value, the copper, goes up. And that's the thing. I bet a lot of people were not aware, but I remember last year, for example, I'd go on eBay and I would see people selling rolls of pennies for twice the face value, sometimes more, and people were buying it. You know, so again, if you don't want to put your money into silver and gold, you want something even cheaper, I would recommend in the case if you're an American, save up your pre-1982 pennies, and with Canadians, it's pre-1997 pennies. Because again, you know, as the fiat value falls, the metal value goes up. You know. Now another thing here, I also have some. These are nickels. Now again, I don't know if that's the term, but I'll call this junk nickel coins. Right here I have a whole bunch of. These are pre-1982 Canadian nickels. Now, unlike their American counterparts, Canadian nickels were actually pure nickel before 1982. There was a few years where I think maybe the Korean War, they were steel or something, but pretty much most years prior to 1982, they were pure nickel. Now, one interesting thing about these, also last year, nickel peaked at, I think it was $23 or $24 US a pound. And these coins here weigh approximately 1/100th of a pound. So at the height that nickel reached last year, these would have been worth approximately 23 to 24 cents melt value. That's almost 5 times their melt value. And again, I bet there's a lot of people that probably were not aware of that. So again, you know, I've been saving these up as well because it's inexpensive. Because again, unlike silver, you know, you can't buy junk silver at face value, but the plus side is you can still get junk copper coins and junk nickel coins at face value. And I would recommend doing it if you don't want to buy gold or silver. Now, same thing with Americans. American nickels, I believe, are 75% copper and 25% nickel. The same thing last year when both copper and nickel shot through the roof, even American 5-cent coins were worth more than face value. You know, and you can buy them at face value. That's the thing. You know, you can't do that with silver. So, you know, if you're still watching at this point and you haven't, you know, laughed at this idea here, you know, try it out. You know, whether you're American or Canadian, you know, put a little bit of your money away into junk copper and junk nickel. It's inexpensive, and you know, you can't lose at this, regardless of the price of nickel and copper, whether they go up or down. You know, you bought the coins at face value anyway. So it's not like you're going to lose any money. There's no risk there because they're always going to be worth what you got them for, which is face value. So, you know, again, you know, if you're not laughing, you know, put some of your money away if you don't want silver and gold, because, you know, this is a good alternative and it's a cheap alternative and it has no risk at all. So again, pre-1982 American pennies, pre-1997 Canadian pennies. And then in the case of the 5-cent coins, American 5-cent coins are still, again, 75% copper, 25% nickel. Again, you put your money in you know, get $100 worth. Go to the bank and get $100 worth, you know, because as the fiat, there's a lot of pessimism right now, especially surrounding the American dollar. And if the dollar ever collapses, if you have some money in this stuff here, this will always have value. This will never go to zero. Pennies, nickels, they're made of commodities. People forget nickel and copper are commodities too. They've been used as money since the beginning of the time as well. You know, not just copper or not just silver and gold, but copper and nickel as well. So if you want some safety, you know, I mean, again, there's all this talk of the American dollar possibly crashing. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but this is security here. If you don't want silver and gold, get some copper, get some nickel coins, and you know, keep your money in that. Because these will never go to zero. The paper will. The paper eventually, all fiat currencies go to zero at some point, but this will never go to zero. Now, just one last thing before I go. There's been a lot of debates in the last few years, and it's still going on now, about whether or not to abolish the penny in both the United States and Canada, like what they did in Australia and New Zealand. You know, these here are not worthless. That's the thing. These here are not worthless. You know, just remember that. They have value just like junk silver does, just like gold. They have value. Anyway, thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. You know, if you were one of the people that laughed and turned it off before it reached the end, I guess there's no point in me even saying this. But anyway, if you enjoyed it, that's great. And, you know, again, take a look at my Silver is Money video, and have a great day. Thanks.